Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am in such a good mood today. I hope you guys are too. There's no specific reason why, I'm really happy today. So I decided to play with some color, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how I got this look. When you look up close, you can see that this look is kind of what I call a double cut crease. I don't know what professionals call this, but that is what I call this type of look. And I just really wanted to experiment and see if I could pull off a look like this. Also, I kind of just wanted an excuse to play with my conspiracy palette because I've only used it twice since I've had it, and I've had it for like 2 months now. She's looking kind of lonely on top of my dresser, so I decided to go ahead and play with that. So this whole look, all the colors that I used on my eyes are exclusively from the conspiracy palette. Coincidentally, it is hot pink and purple, so I feel like it is very suiting for Valentine's Day. Personally, I don't know if I would go out on like a date or something looking like this, but if you want to, by all means, go ahead. So yeah, I don't want to make this video too long, so let's just go ahead and get started on this look. As you can see, this look is very detailed, I guess, so I want you guys to really be able to see everything that I'm doing. As you guys heard in the intro of this video, I am using the Conspiracy palette. So the first color that I'm going to take, it is this baby pink, and this color is so beautiful. This is called Pigment. Get it? Because like pig, like a pig, like Peppa Pig, like... Okay, anyways. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take it on this brush. This brush is from NYX. This is their number 32 brush. Now I'm going to go ahead and place that right underneath the front of my brow, almost right up close to the actual brow. I'm leaving a tiny bit of space there. If you are like me and you don't have much lid space to begin with, just take your eyeshadow a little higher up, and it kind of creates that illusion that you have more lid space than you actually do. So now, just using whatever color is left over on my brush, I am going to drag that down and into my nose just a tiny bit. This look is kind of all about creating a gradient, so you want to make sure that you are spending your time creating that gradient. It's gonna feel like you're wasting a lot of time blending, but trust me, it's worth it. So that shade, I only dipped into the palette once, and you can see there is a lot of pigment there. So pigment! Oh my god, there's a lot of pigment. Shane and Jeffree knew what they were doing when they called that shade Pigment. So next up, I'm going to take this red shade using the same brush. This shade is called Flaming Hot. When I was doing my other eye off camera, I did notice that this shade wasn't really performing as well as I was hoping it would. So you can see right here, that is one dip into Flaming Hot, and it is definitely less pigmented than the shade Pigment. So I mean, that doesn't really upset me because from what I understand, making red is really difficult when it comes to eyeshadow, so I'm not really complaining, but I just wanted to point that out. I was going to do a full review of this palette, but I just feel like nobody cares anymore, to be honest. I feel like nobody's really looking for this palette anymore. Does that make sense? I mean, I am, because I have the palette, so I am constantly on Instagram looking at other people's looks that they create with the palette, but I feel like people who don't have the palette don't really care about it anymore. But yeah, let me know if you guys want a full palette review. I'll definitely do it. For now, I'm gonna keep Flaming Hot like that. I'm gonna go back and revisit it in a second, but let's just move on. I'm gonna go ahead with the same brush, and I'm gonna go into this dark purple shade. This shade is called Not a Fact, and just take it on the outer portion right here. Okay, so I mean, this look, listen, it's not really a Valentine's Day look because you guys know I don't mess with Valentine's Day like that. Never had a Valentine, probably won't for at least a couple years. I mean, I'm not complaining.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
But this look, I feel like, is very Valentine's-y, and I'll probably end up posting this before Valentine's Day. On that note, let me know, do you guys have any plans for Valentine's Day? Are you doing anything special with your boo, with your friends? You know, I could really go for like Red Lobster right now. So if anyone wants to take me out to Red Lobster, hit me up. My Instagram is in the description. So this color is actually performing really, really well. I feel like it's probably one of the more pigmented shades in the whole palette. So I'm going to take some more of that color, and I'm going to pat it on the outer portion of my eyes. As you guys can see on this eye, the purple kind of just ties in the whole look in the outer corner. That is why I am putting it on right here. And I know usually I flick out my eyeshadow. I don't want to do that today. It might end up happening just out of habit, but I kind of like the idea of a more like oval shaped eye instead of like a straight up cat eye. So I'm going to lightly sweep around the edges just to make sure that the lines aren't too harsh. Also, I realized I probably should have waxed my eyebrows before filming this because you guys are really up close and personal, but it's okay. So that kind of concludes the first initial laydown. What I'm going to do is go back in with the pink shade Pigment and just basically redo it. So that first layer was kind of just to see where we want the colors placed, but now we can really focus on building up those shades. I'm going to take Flaming Hot once again, and now I'm going to be patting it instead of sweeping it. It's definitely showing up, but it's not as vibrant as the other shades in this look. But honestly, I don't mind because it actually kind of helps the gradient look more natural. I'm trying to make sure the eyes are symmetrical. Okay, I'm going to take a little more of Not a Fact. Like I said, this look is a lot of back and forth and back and forth. I personally would not go out on a date like this, if you so choose to. You know, maybe give yourself like an extra 20 minutes just to make sure you have enough time to perfect the look. Not that you have to be perfect. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's better to not be perfect on a first date. You know, that way they just see you as you are. I don't know what I'm talking about. You guys, I had coffee before filming this. I'm going to try and zoom you guys in a little bit more just so you can see every single detail of what I'm doing. And then we are going to cut the crease not once, but twice. I'm going to be using this concealer from CoverGirl. This is their True Blend Undercover Concealer. You can use any concealer that you have on hand. However, I think that you should really only be using matte concealers on your eyelids, especially if you are prone to oily eyelids like myself. If you guys watch, there's a YouTuber named Robert Welsh. He is just hilarious. I love his videos. But he was saying he doesn't understand why people use concealer on their lids, because concealer for the most part is kind of dewy or has like a natural finish, and if you want to improve the longevity of your eyeshadow, then really you should be going in with something matte or something waxy, like a legit eyeshadow primer. And I don't have any eyeshadow primer on me, but I have found that a matte concealer works way better on the lids than a dewy or even natural finish one. But if you're just doing your makeup to take some pictures and then you're going to take it off, do whatever you want. Like he says in his videos, you know, makeup has no rules, but it does have theory. So just something to think about. So I'm going to go ahead, apply some of this. I don't want to take too much, but I feel like I just took too much. And now I'm going to create, as you guys can see in this eye, there's like the crease is cut twice. So now I'm creating that first line. I'm going to try my best to make them even. Oh my god, I'm not breathing. Do you guys get like that? Like when you get really focused into your makeup, you just kind of stop breathing for a sec? I think that's pretty good, or at least that's as good as it's gonna get. That being said, do not use that mentality when it comes to love, okay? Don't think this is as good as it's gonna get, because it could always be better. What am I saying? Like, what the heck? For this next part, I'm going to be switching to a smaller brush. This brush is also from NYX. This is their number 15 brush. Usually I use this underneath my eyes to kind of create some shadow down there, but today I'm going to be using it on the actual lid. You can see that stripe of color in the crease. That is where you want a lot of pigment from those matte shades. So taking a denser brush is really going to help with that. I'm going to basically do the same thing that we did before, but I'm going to go in the reverse order. So we're going to have the purple here, the red here, and then the light pink right here, and have it fade back into that purple. First, going in with Not a Fact, I'm just going to gently press that in. Just really take your time and focus on precision. Again, I'm bringing it really close to my nose just because, like I said, I don't have a lot of lid space, so we are going to create lid space, alright? You gotta be innovative. It's 2020, guys. Take some risks. You know, even in your love life, take some risks. Personally, I will not be following that advice. I am content the way I am, sir. But, you know, if you are ready to jump into dating and that whole shebang, why not take some risks? So don't worry if you are getting eyeshadow kind of lower than you have anticipated, because we're gonna cut the crease again. It doesn't matter if things get a little messy. Now I'm gonna go back in with the shade Flaming Hot. I'm gonna go kind of heavy-handed. We are going to try and build that up right here in the middle. Also, the heating just came on, so if you hear some white noise in the background, that's what that is. Like I always say, I'm a one-woman show. I don't have a studio. I just film wherever in the house is not currently being occupied by someone. You know, maybe one day I can have like a studio or something. But you know, for now, you gotta make use of what you have. If you have been considering starting YouTube and you're like, oh, but I don't have a studio, I don't have a ring light, I don't have enough money for a good camera, like, you have to start somewhere. If you really want to start, my biggest piece of advice is just start. I'm not trying to say I'm like a success story, but just to give you guys some of my experience, I am still using the first camera that I bought for my channel. I think I paid like $100 for it. It is just a basic Canon camera. I have no ring lights. I film in front of a window, but you know, so far I've been okay. So don't feel like you have to have big extravagant backdrops like some of the YouTubers that you see. Like, that stuff really isn't necessary. If you want to start, just start. That's kind of unrelated to this. Anywho, so you guys can see how even though that shade is red in the pan, it kind of shows up as magenta on the lid, which I don't mind. It's not a bad thing for this look, but I just wanted to tell you guys that. So now I'm going back in with the shade Pigment. You guys can see I've loaded it up quite a bit on my brush, and I'm really going to focus it on that outer portion of the line that we created. See, you guys can see, even though it's not perfect, that gradient is already coming through. Just like in relationships, sometimes you just gotta give people a chance. Now I'm going back in with that purple and really blending it into that red. I don't know if you guys can see that there is a little bit of a bald spot right here where the purple isn't quite marrying with that red. We are just gonna go ahead and put some more red. I feel like that's the whole theme of this look, is just keep going until you get somewhere. Honestly, that's my theme for life. Just keep going. Eventually, things will sort themselves out. If you guys see some texture on my eyelids, you can see a little bit right here. That is because a couple weeks ago, I filmed with the new Fenty Beauty palettes. I will link that video in the description. And after filming, my eyes had some sort of reaction. As I say in the video, I'm not sure if it was caused by the shadows or if it was just something random, but I do still have some of that leftover texture from whatever reaction that was. You know, your skin is not always perfect. Sometimes your eyelids have scabs on them and you just gotta keep going. Can you guess what time it is? No, it's not 2:30 p.m. It is time to cut the crease once again. However, I'm gonna cut my crease about in half to create that line. For this portion, I do want it to be more precise. So instead of taking the doe foot straight on my eyes, I'm going to scrape off a little concealer with a brush and then use that to create that line. For the glitter on the lid, I'm going in with the shade Trisha from this palette. It's not a perfect match to the pinks that we already have going on. I think it's in the same family so that it should still look good. Also, you guys, you can recreate this look using any color scheme. Like, honestly, just pick 3 colors that kind of go together and you could do this. Like, you know, I feel like sometimes I watch YouTubers and I feel like I have to do exactly what they're doing. I have to use the same eyeshadow palette or else I can't accomplish that look. But that's not true. Like, you can do anything. I don't know why. I feel like I'm trying to be so inspirational today and nobody asked for that. First, I'm going to take Trisha on a brush. It's not going to be the best application initially, but I just want to lay some of that color down. When I touch this color in the pan, it is not super creamy, but it's also not as dry as the Fenty shimmers, which I talked about in my last video. This color as well is so beautiful. It's like a, I would say this is like a blue pink. It is so pretty. I wanna be drenched in this color. When I die, you guys, put some Trisha on my eyelids. Now I'm taking Trisha on this smaller brush. You guys know I love this brush, especially for more precise looks. And I'm using it to really define the line between the matte shades and the shimmer. Ooh, that is you're so pretty. Why did I turn into Miranda Sings? That's so pretty.
If I see her, I will punch her right in the face. What kind of question is that?
Alright, so that is pretty much it for the initial laydown of all of the colors. So now I'm going to go ahead and do some fine tuning. The first thing that I'm going to do is apply some purple right here on the outer corner, because as you can see on this eye, the purple is used to kind of blend everything together, and then this eye, it looks a little bald. I'm going to go ahead and create that same effect just by patting this purple right here. Also guys, please let me know in the comments if this video was somehow helpful in terms of learning how to do a look like this, because I would go on Instagram and I would see so many looks of people with these like double cut creases, and I was always wondering like, how the heck did they do that? And then one night I was just playing around and I figured it out. I posted that look on my Instagram and you guys really liked it. Like, that is one of my most liked posts. Like, you guys really liked that whole shape and the whole color scheme of that look. That is why I wanted to recreate something similar on my channel, so that way you guys, if you wanted to see how those kinds of looks are created, you can follow along. So it's about that time where I go off camera and finish up the rest of my face, but I want to show you guys the fallout under my eyes. There isn't too much, but there's definitely enough for me to say,
do your eyeshadow first.
That's kind of just a general rule of thumb that I go by anyways, just because it makes your life easier. And don't you want to make your life easier? Exactly. Okay, that is it for the eyes. I'm gonna go off camera, finish up the rest of my face, and then I will show you guys the final look. Alright guys, so I am back after what feels like 3 hours. You know when you're doing your makeup and you put some music on and you're just like vibing? That's what I just did for like literally an hour and a half, and then I stopped to eat because I was getting really hungry. Anywho, you don't need to know all that. Point is that this is the finished face. Honestly, you guys, I am obsessed with this. I don't get the chance to play with color that often because, you know, like I go to school, I have a job. I don't feel like pulling up to an 8:30 lecture with a look like this. You know what I'm saying? When I do get the chance to play with colors like this, it is just so fun for me, and it just like fulfills my soul. I really enjoy this look. Let me know if you guys did as well. So underneath the eyes, I did the same gradient that I did in our first layer on the crease. So that was really easy. I just did that. On the inner corner, I used the shade Ranch from the palette, which is just a white frosty shade. As for everything else that is on my face, that will be in the description. Let me know if you guys would prefer that I film my whole face, or for videos like this, if you just prefer that I just show you guys the eyes. Let me know whatever you guys like, and then I will keep that in mind in the future. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? Do you have any plans, or are you like me and you're kind of like anti-Valentine's Day? But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!